Welcome to His Return, a Survivor's Guide. Today is going to be a little bit different. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through 15 F's of survival. So I'm going to give you a list, and then I'm going to go through some of these things and give you a different perspective as to what they mean to me, and maybe you should think about this and maybe apply this to your own situation. So to begin with, the list goes like this: family, friends, food, fuel, finances, firearms, fortress, fire prevention, faith, facilities, first aid, flashlights, fire, fermentation, and fighting. To begin with family, you know who your family is. You know the pluses and minuses of having your family living with you. Now, have you prepared a place just in case things really go bad in this country and your family has decided they're going to move in with you? Now, you're going to be put in a position where you're going to have to make a choice. You know whether or not you can get along with your family or not. There may be members in your family that you've never been able to get along with. So you might not be able to have your family living with you. But have you provided space for family members? Do you have another building or a tent or just anything? Maybe it's just a temporary situation where they can come with you or come stay with you, and you can feed them and house them for a little bit, but it can't be on a permanent basis. So you may have to make sure that you have some gas and some cash to put in their car and send them down the road if it just doesn't work out. Some families are good, some are not so good. So you know what the pluses and minuses of having your family with you are. And your friends, you know what they have as far as assets that can help you. You've developed a friendship with some people who are probably closer to you than your family is. And you have to consider that as well. If they're where they're living is destroyed, or they need shelter and protection, you'll know if they can be an asset or a help to you in times of trouble. Just like your neighbors, you know what they have and what they don't have as far as tools, equipment, and things like that, and their abilities, you know, what their job is in life and what they know how to do. And one thing about neighbors, some neighbors like to borrow your tools. Don't do that. Do not borrow your tools to your neighbors or your friends. The best thing that you can do is, if a friend has a project and he wants to borrow your tools, go with your tools and help your friend or neighbor with whatever project is that they're working on. So that you know how your tools are going to be handled. You know they're going to be taken care of, but they're not going to come back broken, and they're not going to lend your tools out to somebody else. Real simple. Yeah, you just don't let somebody else abuse your stuff and then you're without. Keep a spare if you can of whatever kind of tool it is that they want to borrow. But don't leave your tools at your neighbors or your friends. Bring them home with you. Food. You know how you're going to have to know how to grow food and how to preserve it. You're going to have to know how long the shelf life is of anything that you preserve. And there's different ways of preserving food. You can dehydrate and you can can food. So have the ability to know how to do that. You need books. You need to know, have books on how to grow food and how to preserve food, just so that you can have food for the future. And fuel. You need fuel for your vehicles, you need fuel for your tools, your chainsaws, your tillers, your tractors, your motorcycles, your four-wheelers. Whatever it is that you have that requires fuel, stock up on fuel and put a fuel stabilizer in it so that you can preserve it for longer than 30 days or 3 months or however long fuel is good for now, just so that you will have it there in the future. But fuel also concerns your heat. Your heat. So make sure you have gas for your chainsaw so that you can cut wood, so that you can put wood in your fireplace. Because these winters where I live are long and cold. So prepare for that type of situation. You may need that fuel to cook with. You may need a wood stove to cook on. Maybe you have a barbecue grill. Get charcoal in reserve, so that you can at least cook something on a charcoal grill. You can always throw wood in a charcoal grill and just let it cook down to the coals, or burn down to the coals, and then you can cook on it. Have a fire pit or something with a grate over it, just so that you have some way to cook your food. Finances. I don't know what your financial situation is. I don't know if you're able to save money or not. But if there is a way to either save money or put money into assets that will sustain you, such as food and tools and heating and stuff like that, clothing, just to make sure that you can survive. Firearms. Now, in my opinion, some people don't like firearms, some do. But if you're going to have a firearm, I would suggest a shotgun, because there are many different types of loads for a shotgun. You can have a bird shot, you can have a double-aught buck or slugs or something like that, for taking down bigger things like deer or buffalo. Moose or elk or whatever, and just so that you have the ability even to defend yourself if necessary. And the next one is fortress. That is your home. What kind of security do you have for your home? Can you bolt your doors? Can you throw a 2x4 across your door so that you can prevent people from coming into your home? Do you have any sort of a security system to where you can keep an eye on the back door and the front door and the surrounding area? Do you have game cams and that type of thing, so that if you're not home, you'll have something recorded, so that if somebody's walking across your property or around your buildings? You'll have more than one. Have 3 or 4 game cams, just so that you can see what's going on. Maybe there'll be a deer or a raccoon or some other animal cross its path, and you'll have that recorded, and you can say, aha, now I can eat that. Maybe a rabbit, who knows? So you need to have some sort of security for your fortress. Fire prevention. Do you have fire extinguishers? Do you have a bucket of water? Are you doing things to prevent fires? sometimes thinking ahead, like when you leave the house, shut your coffee pot off. You know, anything that produces heat. I mean, transformers, even these little transformers, you know, for charging your cell phone. Don't leave your cell phone on the charger all the time, or your laptop. Anything that has a battery in it that can overheat and burn up. So you have to think ahead so that you can keep the fire from ever happening in the first place. Don't put a quart of oil on the stove to warm it up in the middle of the winter because it's too thick to pour out to go into your car. And then take a nap, because that oil will sooner or later melt, go into your burners, and set your house on fire. So don't do that. Faith. Now, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. And without faith it is impossible to please him. For whoever would draw near to God must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who seek him. Faith. Do you have faith? Don't be living scared all the time, because God is for you. God loves you. He wants you to survive. So maintain a faith with God so that he will help you in times of trouble. Amen. Facilities. What I mean by facilities is the bathroom. Do you have some place to go if you don't have electricity and if you don't have water? Do you have a 5-gallon bucket and plastic bags? Even garbage bags, you know? Just someplace, if you have to stay in your house because say it's too radioactive outside. Maybe it's a blizzard or a tornado or who knows what going on outside. Maybe there's roaming bands of bandits seeking who they can destroy. Do you have some place where you can do your business? Do you have some facilities available for you? These are just simple ideas, you know, that you have to think about that could happen in times of trouble. First aid. Do you have Band-Aids? Do you have iodine? Do you have aspirins? Do you have things like this in order, if you cut yourself, if you've got a headache, maybe you've got a cold and you need some antihistamines and stuff like this, something to help with congestion, just to keep you as healthy as possible so that you're not suffering while you're in your fortress. You know, babies need things. You know, if you have small children, they need special things too. So you have to consider all that. Flashlights. One thing you don't want to be without is light, especially at night when things get really dark, dark, dark. You want to be able to see where you're going. You want to be able to look outside and see if there's anything out there, if you should happen to hear noises outside, so that whoever is out there will have to hide from the light. So don't have light just for inside the house. Now, if you have these solar powered outdoor security lights, get some of those and put them on the outside of your house, or on your garage, or facing your backyard, just so that if something does move out there, a light will come on just to warn you that there is activity outside and you should check it out. Fire. You have to know how to make fire. If you're going to cook, if you're going to live in your house, and you need wood heat, you're going to have to know how to make fire. You need to know how to make a campfire, whether it's rubbing two sticks together or a ferrocerium rod or whatever it's called, or just keeping some lighters around, some butane lighters, or even candles or something like that, that you can light and burn to have a little light in the house and you have a constant flame. Fermentation. Now, fermentation is used in many different things. It is used for preserving food. And there's a channel on YouTube, I think it's called Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. And Stacy is the one who knows how to ferment food. And there is medicinal value to fermenting food. I don't know that much about it. Mostly we dehydrate things here or freeze things, in order to preserve food. But you can ferment some foods for health reasons. I guess it's healthier for you. And you can also ferment. You need to know how to ferment to make alcohol. Now, alcohol has medicinal purposes also. Not only that, but sometimes maybe you need a little alcohol to clean out your gut. Make you feel good too once in a while. And then fighting. You need to know how to fight. It's not easy to even think about having to fight somebody, especially in any sort of fisticuffs, hand to hand, anything like that. Now, I took Taekwondo, and for me that was good. It gave me some of the basics that I needed in order to defend myself, not only to defend myself, but to be an aggressor as well. So you need to consider different ways of fighting. There are a lot of martial arts out there. Or like one guy on YouTube says, oh, the best way to defeat an enemy is to throw dirt in their eyes. Well, then carry a pocket full of dirt with you, if you think that's the way to defeat your enemies. Well, that's all I have for today. I hope you have maybe gotten a little bit different view on survival, because that's what we're doing here. We're going to survive. We just need to know how. So don't overlook any options you might have. And there's probably more that can go on this list. But take this list, print it out, write it down, put it on your refrigerator, and look at it once in a while, just so that you have something to consider. Have I looked at all my options in order to survive? Well, God bless you. And hope to see you on the other side. Bye.